Hi, I'm Gary the GooBoy. Today, we're going over my league starter for 3.18, Mathil's Dex-Stacking Spectral Throw Claw build that I'm super excited for this build. I think it's going to be a great league starter. Now, I know what you're thinking. Gary, what do you mean by that? Dex-Stacking? League starter? Spectral Throw? What do you think? It's going to be a terrible leveling experience. Only for 2 acts. Once you get to act 3 and you start getting like hatred and stuff, it gets a lot easier. Now, obviously you can't do the mod until level 68, but we'll go over that in a second. Anyway, the reason why I chose this build is primarily because I am only doing one build this league. It's gonna be bonkers good. Anyway, the reason why I have this claw in the background is because this is your endgame claw and it costs, you're gonna craft it. I'm gonna teach you how to craft it. We're all gonna learn together. We'll get to that in a second. First, gem links. All right, Nightblade. Nightblade is the reason any claw build does damage in 2022. Nightblade is insane. 405% crit multi. Obviously, you lose that very quickly. It does go down, but between triggering elusive on demand and withering step, you can get anywhere from 50 to 100% elusive at all times. So you're getting anywhere from 500 to 700% crit multi, which is bonkers good. If you don't know why, okay, so much to explain. So Spectral Throw, normally you would just throw out a weapon, it would hit the boss a maximum of 3 times. Well, Sniper's mark on hit kind of changes this rule a lot about Spectral Throw. Now, you don't need any utility skills like slower proj or extra projectiles. The Sniper's mark, what it's gonna do is when you hit the boss, it's gonna proliferate projectiles. These projectiles are going to come back to you, and on the way back, they will hit additional times. I am counting that as 3 times Spectral Throw on full DPS and POB. That's what I'm expecting out of the build in terms of damage. Now, that claw I showed you, which is this exact copy, this is what I crafted in Craft of Exile. That is your endgame claw. It costs about 10 to 14 Exalted Orbs, depending on how lucky you are, and it's your dream claw, and it's super easy to craft. Your starting claw, all you have to do to make this claw, when you get into mapping and get an eye level 68 claw of some kind, just to enable the Dex build, what it's gonna do, what you have to do is get tier 2 Essence of Hatred essences and spam until you get the Dex mod, and that's it. That's all you have to do. It doesn't even have to be T2, it could be T3. And then just craft % increased attack speed. This is the second tier of it too. It's not even the highest tier of attack speed. And there you go, you have your claw. Fractal Thoughts, obviously mandatory for the build. It's 15% increased dex. And then you get more max life on your boots, and you get movement speed, and you get immunity to all the grounds and all that, which if you do Synthesis boss will be nice. Besides those 2 cheap uniques, like what else is, like, that's it. That's your build. That I have evasion gloves with nothing else on them just to trigger spell suppression. And you have 2 rings with -7 mana cost, which even if you don't have the highest tier, even -4 mana cost helps a lot. So like anything June related is going to be great. So that's all I have for build. You can get accuracy, you can get crit, you can get more attack speed, you can get flat cold, you can sack a way more dexterity than 500. That's our starting build. It is incredibly cheap. No, you're not getting your uniques on day 1, but let's be honest, if you're watching this video, you probably aren't getting to maps on day 1. Let's be honest. All right, so as far as the tree goes, it's actually really, really simple. When you're leveling, you'll want to beeline straight for the Claw Mastery and this little life and mana on hit, because one of the Claw Masteries is 10 life gained and 5 mana gained for every enemy hit by your attacks. Makes your leveling experience so much smoother. Eventually, you want to respec into Nightblade, has 40% increased effective elusive. If you need resistances, boom, 1 point, 50% all. You also have this evasion thing to kind of give you movement speed if you want that. This build is super customizable, okay? If you want, you can get these claw nodes up here for a bunch of crit. You can get these claw nodes for life on hit and more life and mana gained on hit if you feel like you still need them. Really simple tree, I think. You're not going anything too fancy. Our spell suppression chance on the tree alone is 78%. Our life seems scary with 148%, but remember we have boots right now with 500 dex on a dex stacking build that doesn't have like 8 pieces of gear to stack Dex on. It right now gives us 250 flat life. Well, keep in mind, it's 250 max life with the 148% increase, but still. You should end up around 5,500 life in the end. As far as the rest of your skills go, what you're gonna want is Purity of Elements, Hatred, Herald of Ice. But I'm trying to make this as like League starty as possible. This claw, it's insane. Yes, it's our endgame claw, yes. It's also really easy to craft. So, let's talk about that. On the Path of Exile builds subreddit, I made an entire step-by-step of how to make this. The total cost. I have approval from Path of Exile builds, okay? This claw thing works. So here's what you do. In order to get this claw, is literally, behind my fat head, spam Essence of Hatred T1 until you get T1 attack speed, annul off the other mods. So we started out with, this was our claw. We annulled off the 2 mods. We got our T1 added cold T1 attack speed. Then you craft 3 additional prefixes, suffixes cannot be changed. Then you reforge with cold mod in harvest. Then you recraft 3 crafted mods, get crit chance, reroll a bunch because you don't get the 27%, and then finish off with attacks with this weapon does 13% elemental resistance penetration. That's it. You are spending literally 8 of your exalts in this craft is just crafting the specified suffixes and prefixes. I guarantee the mod. You only need an eye level 81 Hunter Claw to make this work. It's a little less DPS than Mathil's Claw, but it's 5% less damage, but you gain the 46 life gained on hit, which makes you like omega tanky against late game bosses. And if you're scared about being stunned, all you have to do is just come up here, look, boom. Stun avoidance, stun avoidance, stun avoidance, stun avoidance. You are now immune to stuns. Stun avoidance is very tempting. I might very well do that. As far as the Ascendancy goes, it's pretty self-explanatory. You want to go Far Shot first. You want to go Endless Munitions. Next, you want to get Free Tailwind. And at this point, you have a little bit of a choice. Focal Point is highly recommended because you do get a ton of damage from increased effect of your mark. If you have too much damage, you can just take Wind Ward and just get less damage taken. Just get another defensive layer. You go Lyra because resist are great, crit multi is great, and mana regen is okay on this build. Now let's talk about the Atlas skill tree. Bam! Look at that tree. Now, you may be asking yourself, Gary, hold on, you don't have anything disabled. What are you going to disable this league? Oh, it's actually quite simple. Let's disable Breach, Abyss, Expedition, oh god, Heist, Metamorph, Mirror, Blight, Ritual, Legion. Let's keep Harvest. There we go. Harvest only, all league. Do you guys know how nice that is? It's really, really good. As far as the rest of the tree goes, what we're going to do, we have our little map nodes here. We're getting all the Harvest nodes. We're getting all the Essence nodes. I'm not worried about the Arch Nemesis mods, whatever. I'm obviously getting Stream of Consciousness because the idea of never having to deal with fragments at any point in my life tickles my balls, and that is pleasurable to me. So we're not gonna deal with any fragments for the rest of the league. We are getting Dance of Destruction at league start. As far as I'm concerned, it's a 6 link. And that's the build. That's the build in a nutshell. I think that I have a lot of high hopes for this build. I think it's very fun. Spectral Throw does suck for the first 2 acts, and then act 6 onward is when the build starts feeling pretty good. That's the build, and I'm very happy about it, and I'm excited to league start Mathil's Dex-Stacking Claw Deadeye. Have a good day. Goodbye!